Welcome everyone. Here I am on the floor of Lux Live exhibition here in London, and I'm with the management team of Acuity Brands, Vernon Nagel, CEO, Steve Lydecker, SVP Lighting Solutions, and George McIlwraith, SVP of Global Sales. You guys are Wall Street stars. You're just doing so well. You're making money in a business when a lot of people aren't. What's your secret and what are other people missing?
You know, Ray, first of all, thanks for having us here. I think it goes back to 2005 when Acuity was really basically just an analog manufacturer. We made luminaires that were not LED, and so we began by strategy the thought around how do we migrate our business. We knew that these fixtures would go from being the dumb terminal in the ceiling to a very intelligent fixture. So again, that's the transition from analog to digital. And Acuity used its strength and its capabilities to help drive that. You know, in North America, we're the #1 player by a wide margin. We have great access to market, we have great product portfolio, and we have a great team that is focused on changing how customers perceive the solution sets that we provide. And so I think we've been able to leverage and get ahead of the game because of the strategies that we had deployed early on.
Yeah, so you've sort of infilled some of your business with acquisitions where you needed intelligence, or is that correct?
That is correct. You know, our acquisition strategy it continues to be really around technology, filling in gaps of particular product types or access to market, and then geographical play to a degree. And so, again, if you go back to, I like to use 2008 as the last high watermark in non-residential construction. Acuity sold virtually no LED-based luminaires. We had virtually no lighting controls. Because we knew that the transition would go from analog to digital, we set out by strategy to acquire that capability of lighting controls. And where you see today is really our total product portfolio is over 60% LED based. And one of the reasons, back to your earlier question of our strength, in 2008, we had probably 500,000 SKUs. Today we have over 1.7 million SKUs. It's the largest lighting solutions portfolio in the marketplace. Our access to market is robust. We sell through 14 different channels around the globe. And so the opportunity for us to not only have the right products, the right solutions, but then fill it in with key acquisitions. Aldo LED, for example, was a fantastic acquisition because it's the brains. It's what makes these luminaires intelligent, and the ability to tie them together so they can communicate together is really, again, a very robust opportunity that we have. We make our Aldo LED drivers available to other companies, call it our friending strategy, so that we can allow architects, engineers, and building owners to have a complete solution set. And that's really what's helping us drive our growth and our profitability as well.
So you also bought Distech, which gave you a controls capability, and you also bought Bytelight, which gives you that retail space. So tell us, when you put all these together, what is it going to look like?
So Ray, we call this our tiered solution strategy. The whole notion of a tier 1 is where it's devices componentry, whether it's a Distech controller or it's an Acuity luminaire or it's a control element. Tier 2 adds a little bit more intelligence to it. So imagine that it is a luminaire and you put an occupancy sensor on there. Now you're able to use that luminaire in a way where it gives you a little bit more energy savings. It recognizes someone's in the room, turn the lights on, it's not, turn it off. A tier 3 solution now ties together all of these capabilities. And when we look at what Distech and what Bytelight and some of the others are allowing us to do, it's really to offer a complete solution for, in this case I'll use an indoor space, where a building owner can use that luminaire, tie it together, take advantage of daylight harvesting, take advantage of improved quality of light in the space. And we believe between building automation systems, which Distech brings to the table, as well as our lighting systems, that we'll collect over 85% of the data that's being developed in a building. And now you can use that information to create apps to then turn it back into usable information for the building owner. And Steve, maybe you can comment on the retail space, which is where we're having very good success.
Sure. I think as we go back to our roots back to 2005, 2008, we really saw this as a transformation that could add value to the end customer. Too much of lighting had been commoditized in the past, and its true value had been lost, but not only to the retailer, but the consumer. And so by turning the conversation to LED, new technology, and generating value, we're able to help customers solve problems beyond just illumination. So Vern talked about the retail environment, and one of the key challenges in retail is indoor positioning and allowing an internet style shopping experience or an omni-channel shopping experience to happen in the physical world. So our smart lighting is actually bridging the gap between the mobile and its connectivity to the internet and the physical world and the planograms that the retailers have. So it improves customer experience in shopping, finding the things you need quickly and efficiently. It allows the retailer to have a conversation with the consumer, whether it's pushing a coupon or providing additional information, just like when we search the web, same idea, or even to connect the brand, consumer product brand, to the consumer at the point of purchase. And that's all enabled by indoor positioning and knowing where the person is, who the person is, and giving them contextually relevant information at that space.
I mean, George, we're making a play, aren't we, that the lighting will be the backbone. You know, we're offering it to the world, saying the lighting is going to be the backbone of the IoT. We can do all these services. But that's not guaranteed, is it?
Well, I think one thing that's for certain is wherever there's people, there's lights. So fundamentally, we play a great role. Secondly, the lights typically don't move when installed, particularly in a retail space. And then you can think about the technology that can be embedded in them, that they're not easily accessible by either the store operations people or by the customer. So therefore they're unlikely to get damaged or moved around or get put into the wrong space, and they can give excellent coverage of the space. You know, imagine in a retail store 1,200 beacons. If you look at what they're doing today, that they're maybe using 100, 200 beacons. Far more ability to ensure that we can give great coverage to the entire space, and you get great service as a customer, because I think this consumer experience is absolutely critical to the technology taking hold. One other thing though is that indoor positioning through the lighting system, the accuracy to within 100 millimeters, do we need it to be any more accurate? You know, and that's so I really feel that we have the infrastructure figured out. The big challenge now is, will it provide the customer experience, and will that be validated? And that's what really will take this to the next level.
You know, Ray, I would also add to that. You ask about the Internet of Things. I believe that we are absolutely in our infancy around the opportunity of having, first, what is that backbone? Where can we get consistent connectivity? And then as people get used to, I have this consistent information, because again, wherever there is people, there is light. Wherever there's light, there's power. We now can make these luminaires very, very intelligent with sensors, with the driver in there. And we're going to give people the opportunity to say, here is this consistent collection of bits and bytes. It comes up into the cloud. Now what will intelligent owners of that space, users of that space, say, this is what I'd like to do with it. And so we're hitting certain verticals to, if you will, show the power of what this could be. But as we talk to many other folks, as I was mentioning to you earlier, I was talking to a university president, and I asked him what's his number one concern about his campus. And I thought it was going to be, you know, teachers, relationships, so on and so forth. It was student safety. And he started to describe the infrastructure that they have to create a safe environment. It was robustly expensive compared to what we could provide using our lighting as a backbone to help them facilitate a much more effective and a much more cost-efficient solution set. So I believe that these owners and users of these space will come up with far more ideas that are going to be facilitative. They're going to be wanted by these folks, and our view is that our lighting backbone plus Distech will be able to provide that information to them to then be able to say, how can we make this better, a better experience?
I'm just trying to get my head clear about the revenue model, because the lighting industry isn't going to write the software and these apps, is it?
So just 12 short months ago, Acuity had 0 app writers. Today we have 14. The purpose of those 14 folks is really to show the power of what that our lighting / digital backbone can really provide. Call it a digital pipe. So we're trying to show different applications, but then what we expect to do is to allow others not dissimilar from Samsung and your Apple phone, where they allow app writers to create apps. And what will then happen is Samsung and Apple take a taste of that recurring revenue for providing that digital pipe. And so our expectation is that we'll see recurring revenue streams because of the value add that this information will provide to building users.
So that's basically two revenue. You get revenue streams from people making apps, etc., and then you get data. You're selling data to clients, correct?
And a third revenue stream, and that is actually having this backbone be the kind of backbone that they want. Retailer is just a great example, or the retail vertical. They absolutely care about the quality of light because they know how that enhances the merchandising experience. They absolutely care about energy savings because they're doing it over massive amounts of square footage. This digital pipe now allows them more capability, both to enhance the shopping experience, as both Steve and George have outlined, but also to help facilitate greater productivity within their stores of their associates. And this is a really compelling value proposition, for example, in retail. But I can give you those same examples in other verticals as well. And again, we're very, very early in this process. So from Acuity's perspective, we believe that we have not only the breadth of portfolio, the access to market, but superior technology that will facilitate this smart and simple solution in a very easy way. That was one of the key reasons for the acquisition. You were talking earlier about acquisitions of Aldo LED. It's a phenomenal company. If you look at where they were just 18 short months ago, well, maybe a little longer than that, we've probably increased their productivity output by 100x from where they were just, I'll call it 24 months ago. That's the kind of power that we can bring to them, but that's also the capability that they have. And it's not just internal consumption, it's external consumption as well.
So have you filled all your sort of acquisition gaps, or is there another area that you need to touch?
So we feel very good about the base that we have.
Yeah.
But we're always looking for technology, things that can enhance what we're doing. I don't believe that we're missing anything. The Juno acquisition, or the pending Juno acquisition, is a wonderful acquisition for Acuity in that we really don't overlap. We're very complementary with each other. They are very strong in track. We had gaps in our track lighting. They are very strong in downlighting. We had gaps in our downlighting. So the combination of the two will allow us to provide more value and more benefit for the end customer. Our reach into the residential side of the world was just less than what we have on the commercial side, so our market share was a little bit less. Juno is very focused on the residential side, so it really is an opportunity for us to be a complementary capability, and I'm very excited about what that can do for bringing even more information and capability to whether it's residential or the non-residential world. So we'll look for other acquisitions. Whether they'll be exactly like that, I don't know. The other thing I would say is that we're less penetrated around the globe, say outside of North America. With this technology, including the acquisition of Distech, which is outside of North America, I think it gives us a real opportunity to focus on certain key verticals and leverage that capability. So I think you'll see Acuity become more of a global business, both through acquisition and because of the technology and following our key customers around the globe. I mean, that's one of the reasons that we are here, is because we're meeting with a number of customers that are, if you will, European-based, because they see the power of this technology.
Mm-hmm. So Europe and the Middle East would be your next sort of major targets.
And so we also have capability in South America and Asia as well. But Europe, where we have assets and on the ground, if you will, we have facility in Milton Keynes, we have a facility outside of Barcelona with Carandini, and Aldo LED is in Eindhoven, and Distech is based in Lyon. So we are increasing the amount of content that we have here in mainland Europe, or in Europe, I should say, and I want to continue to drive that.
Mm-hmm. Now we're here at Lux Live here in 2015, but Lux Live in 2020, I mean, what do you expect to see out there on the floor? I mean, we're seeing a few stands and a few companies showing some of this new technology. We've got an IoT experience, but you know, how do you see it in?
So, and I'd like George and Steve to comment as well. But from my perspective, you're going to see the larger players providing greater full solutions, not just componentry. Here's my light fixture, here's my occupancy sensor. They're going to be providing more holistic solutions. And you see some of that in Europe today. For example, your hotel systems, where you go in, you put your key in. That's pretty well-known technology. But I think you're going to see more and more at these types of shows capability that are holistic solutions, and then what are people doing with those solution sets to enhance their visual environment. And Steve, from your perspective, what would you expect to see?
Yeah, we look at the investments that we've made over the last decade. It's significant in terms of the technology that we've not only acquired, but we've invested in with internal resources. And there are a lot of niche players in lighting, and they have essential roles to innovate and create and fill voids in the portfolio of all the majors that are out there. Yet they in no way have the ability to have a platform as a service or the deep electronics and software integration with their products. So we think that increasingly those smaller players will need to participate in this broader world, and that's why we have technology platforms that are available not only internally to Acuity but externally to select partners as well, so that they can participate and the lighting industry can be diverse and strong as it has been.
George, what would you say to a sort of a more medium-sized lighting company, maybe cynical about this internet and the connected thing? What would you say to them? Is it get on board? You're gonna miss out?
I think everybody, just look at the adoption of mobile technology. As just recently that there was more data searches on mobile than there is now on the internet. So I think if we just look around us, we see all the clues that we know where the future is heading. And we think of the next generation that comes behind us, that they're very engaged in the use of technology in every aspect of their life, both personal and professional. So really I think that there isn't a whole lot of choice for us. We think about all the facilities and infrastructures that we provide as lighting, facilities like this one. There's no doubt that you can see the connectivity to the technology. We're all using it today, and it's going to be even greater in the future. And I think they've got to think about what's the best way for them to provide it, whether their own organic development or partner with others like Acuity to address this opportunity.
Ray, what I would say to those small and medium-sized folks is, if their skill set is true lighting design, that's fantastic. They don't have to necessarily come up with their own, if you will, IoT capability, because as these guys are saying, we can provide that infrastructure. We want to make sure that we're providing building owners through their architects, their engineers, their lighting designers, their own in-house staff, the ability to choose, to have that design intent, the ability to make their own choices. But ultimately, they're also going to want to have that backbone. They're going to want to take advantage of that because of energy savings at a minimum, but also because of these other things. Our goal with some of these smaller and medium-sized firms is to really provide access to that backbone and be part of that whole system, because it's very different than in the analog world, right? You would just pull a wire to a switch, turn it on or off, and it was all the same. In the digital world, it's far more complicated than that. So to the extent that they want to be expert at design, fantastic. We have an opportunity for them to participate in that infrastructure system so that we're both providing the customer with the best choices that they want.
And of course, at Lux Live, you're launching some Aldo LED intelligent smart gear.
The Aldo LED team has just been fantastic. And in fact, to use the word acquisition would be unfair. It was a merger of folks that had the same idea, the same vision about what this whole thing would look like, but doing it in a way with great capability to provide that quality of light. But because their technology is so robust, we're actually able to use it as a critical component of in-store positioning, visible light communication. And so we are just very excited for that team and being part of our team and how they offer other customers unique opportunities to participate. Steve, you're very close to the Aldo LED folks.
Yeah, and as we looked at the rate of LED componentry change, we knew that we had to add intelligence to keep up. You know, with product evolutions that used to be, we were talking about it before, 5 or 10 years, now measured in months, you need that intelligent backbone to allow that luminaire to progress quickly. And that same framework that we mentioned that allows the luminaire to improve its performance rapidly also allows the driver to communicate. And the Aldo LED driver communicates in 3 ways. One way is on wired networks, on wireless networks, and it also communicates with light, with this visible light communication that connects the mobile back to its source of data. So that whole infrastructure and intelligence is what we're leveraging with Aldo LED, making more and more of our products smart, and that in turn enables smart buildings and smarter decisions by building owners.
And Ray, internally at Acuity, we're investing heavily in our ability, software, to really communicate between Distech's building automation systems and our lighting systems to really provide that solution set. And the Aldo LED team and the Distech team and our other folks are really focused on making sure that we create a seamless capability so that it is very smart and very simple to use, and it has the reliability that folks really expect. They had it in the analog world, they want to have it in the digital world, and I think that's going to be another unique capability of Acuity to help leverage that.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for your time today. Very interesting. So thank you, Vernon, Steve, and George. We'll wrap up there today. Thanks for talking to Lux today. Thank you.
Thank you.